Hi everybody, my name is Aurora and I'd like to share with you some insight and a bringing of knowledge in terms of a mythological element that seems to be coming through quite strongly in the last few thousands of years. My take on it has to do with the way that we create and the way that we bring knowledge forward, and I'm addressing the sacred fire-branded energy, or the dragon. And this does not make any reference to any physical element with regards to the dragon being of itself, but it is different than the knowledge that has come to our awareness with regards to draconians and entities and beings like that. This is not the same thing. This information that I'm sharing with you is based on the mythological explanation of how we create, and that we create in a particular way in terms of how we think and how we bring something forward. But this is a new and old process that I'm hoping to share with you to uplift you in this way and within myself, for us to understand things in a much clearer way, in a much clearer manner. This is the sacred intent of language and the way that we use it in this particular world that we're in, and how our consciousness, once we've worked on our consciousness and the awareness of our consciousness, that we are able to utilize how we bring things forward in a much more specific manner, so that we can create in a much more whole manner. My opinion, my information that I'm sharing with you, I'm just going to read a little something to you. The dragon comes from a world long forgotten. This world was the pivotal point of all sacred heart energy. In this journey, the information of all the sacred guidance came, and so it became the very fire-branded seed of the sacred mitochondrial DNA. The material that I've taken this from is from the blog site alchemyoftruth.blogspot.com, and I'll put the link at the bottom for you to read, as just to have a sort of a background as to what I'm busy explaining to you. Dragon speak is based on the sacred intent of language. Again, just be mindful, this is a mythological element, and we are giving a reference or a figurative explanation using the dragon as a figurative example in the way that we speak. When we are above our physical presence, and that means when we are in awareness, when we are in an uplifted state of consciousness, we reach a kind of thought state or a mental state, or the spirit fiery sense or essence. When you think a lot within your consciousness, you're getting to that level where you are ready to ignite your intention. It is this fire that is like a dragon in an elevated awareness, in a very whole manner, that gives your thoughts wings. It's when you think of something and you suddenly have the idea that this is going to be amazing, so your thoughts take off. It's like you're having wings. It's very similar to the wings on the helmet of Mercury. Mercury is significant or symbolic of the messenger. Okay. And The wings are also part of the dragon, the wings of the dragon. It's the same thing. The dragon is also related to the east, where the sun is rising, as well as the pearl of great wisdom, which is connected to this particular element. So silence, becoming aware, becoming conscious of your thoughts, and then bringing it forward to ignite whatever it is that you're intending to do. But through your heart, there you start to take off, just like the winged dragon. So the wings are thoughts, the way that the thoughts expand out from the mind. The fire of Prometheus is also based on the mental or a mindful process, and it brings us to the awareness that all is mindful. The universe is mental or thought-based. All is in a process of flux, of energy going up and down. Thoughts never stand still, they always move, just as we as consciousness always move. So do our worlds that surround us as well. Energy is also the grasp of truth of the mental nature of the universe. So when you think of something, you generate energy. Heat is associated with generating energy, and so you are experiencing your nature of your creation in your world. And so the dragon has come into this world, but seemingly so light that only the belly is felt through the solar changes of this world. What we see here is an energetic way words are spoken, the breath of fire from within, and to be clear in your thoughts, to be transparent in your truth. This is a process of how you find out who you are. Once you know who you are, your words will be of truth. Your actions will reflect your words. Thinking it, feeling it, creating it. These are the rules for this world that we are in. The world is called an alphabet verse. The universe, the unified words. The entire world that we are living in is based on words. Okay? Because it was through words that this universe was put into action, was put into creation. And these are the tools that we are working with. And outside of this world, we are in our conscious awareness observing ourselves through our avatars. We are a great spirit as well as or great consciousness. Great spirit is also great consciousness. Once you're aware of the fact that you are conscious of everything that you do, you emulate that through your actions. These words that can also cast spells on each other, can cast a spell on yourself. Words can be used to destroy. Words can be created to bring in locks or agreements or contracts that you're held in. Things that are formulated by an energetic sense of emotion to fuel the letter or to fire up the letter. So when you're thinking and you're speaking, certain energy that comes through creates a fiery word or a fiery letter. In other words, switching the word's action on because of your soul, because of your consciousness. It has become apparent that as we are glimpsing a new world that we are going in, that we are also experiencing a new world within ourselves. So in other words, the world will always be new, the day will always be new, the thoughts will always be new when you become aware of the things that you are using to create. So what I'm trying to say is we are creating things in a very eventful manner every moment that we are thinking and bringing information in. Before the words were made God, the original creators spoke in an original language. The first light as the life-giving and life-creating energy. The words were part spirit frequency that wraps around the sound and becomes life-emitting soul. A syllable becomes a symbol. Here the great spirit or great consciousness within all of us steps in. It is in this way that there has been an inversion as well. And what I'm trying to explain is I'm giving you the information as it is, and then I'm giving you the other side of it as well. And what you're feeling, you have to feel the way that we're discussing this particular subject and see how it feels within you. And you'll be able to then see and perhaps understand what I'm trying to explain. It is rather a complex subject as well, so I do require or suggest that it's perhaps possible for you to listen to it again. It's important for us to realize that when the inversion took place, that it was due to an over-analyzing, an over-exaggerating, and an over-fractalized expression of one particular word. So if I had to say dog, it would just become whatever, whoever's ears it fell on, that's where it would start to grow into something else. So again, people heard things, people experienced things back in the day, and they understood things in a way that they wanted to understand it. Perhaps there was some emotional ego involved as well, and that's how things become inverted. The truth becomes distorted. And many of these distorted aspects come out, and it is as if you're creating in an inverted manner. So you carry on creating in an inverted manner, you're going to be creating a black hole. You're going to just carry on, and it's going to just get deeper and deeper and more distorted. That's why I'm trying to remind you of all of the things that it starts from within, that you take control of the awareness that you are conscious inside an avatar that's living in a world that is based on language and intention. One great consciousness breaking itself into, we are one great consciousness, and we are in the millions of pieces, and we are great potential. And manifesting in this potential needs a kind of allowance for the consciousness to activate the intention, almost to allow consciousness in plural to make choices and to interact in a creative manner and to become more. Becoming love is the process to where we are going towards. We do not have a destination. I just need to give this to you now. We don't have a destination. It's never about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about great consciousness experiencing he, she, itself through many vessels of frequency, influenced or affected or embracing certain aspects. It's like my 10 fingers, and each one has a particular willpower and is affected in a specific way, but they're all part of the same hand, they're part of the same body, where the fingers, if you follow what I'm saying. And as we grow, so as the fingers become aware of the multiple stimulation and the information and the things that come to us, so the consciousness of the main body becomes aware as well. So I'm holding my hands out over the, oh, is this what it feels like? So I can actually feel this, and then I'm thinking, oh, that's what it feels like. So it's actually quite soft, or it burns. That's how we are operating. Because I'm explaining to you that we are Great Spirit, and that we are the greater consciousness, and we are members in particular. And being the experience in a multidimensional frequency is stepping from one level of reality or reality into another one. And so we are becoming multidimensional in the many layers of this particular world. And even more so even outside of this world. The first utterance is like a creative fire, like a dragon's breath, and the solidifying of the words that manifest all things becomes the physical thing that we are creating. It becomes your reality. Whatever you're thinking, you're intentionally setting it in motion, that becomes your reality that you create. So what I'm trying to say is everything is fluid. There's no solid state or mass. You are always in flux. You're always going to be going like this. This information that I'm going to be sharing with you is coming from a few months ago's bit of deeper research and things that have come to me. So I'd like to just share with you some things that I have noticed. Again, this is my opinion and my experience that I'm sharing with you. So the first utterance is like a creative fire, like a dragon's breath, and the solidifying of the words that manifest all things into a reality or reality. And so the first reality or reality becomes the first point of view, of existence, and point of light. This does not mean light, bright white light. This means light as in the frequency of light, and that is all spectrum, full spectrum light. That means all the way through, black, white, grey, yellow, pink, you name it, full spectrum. Long before beings came into awareness, long before the Sophia has made her presence, long before all things became known, she was known as our mother, and as the experiencer of the expression of our greater mother-father consciousness. Mother-father, male-female, all part of one consciousness though. When the words came out, it was female, it was feminine, and her name was Sophia. The reason it is female is because the word had a lot of potential to become pregnant, to have a value, to become something else. And this was before it became encoded, before it became inverted as well. This is the original manner of speak and processing, but the living consciousness must learn to go within to know of its infinite existence, remembrance, and the sense of feeling and a knowing of wholeness. As the seeds of fire, like petals from a flower, or the flower of life, fell on pools of water, or primordial waters of the infinite potential around waters. as words were uttered, more words would fall on all waters. And in this, many pools of potential would reflect back to the one who spoke the words, or the creator. And in various moments, certain counterfeit images or reflections or mirrors would come through in the same way. So if you're speaking, your words fall everywhere, like seeds on land, where certain seeds fall on hard land, certain seeds fall in ground that is fertile. So the same is when you're throwing it on water, that there are many ponds or pools of water, figuratively speaking, are the way that certain things encase the words that you speak. Certain pools would reflect certain reflective images back to you. And in that, certain ways, counterfeit images would come through. Not always the same, like a broken mirror with many shards of broken mirrors, and you would throw, and some of those broken shards would be completely distorted, but yet you know in your higher self that it is all one giant mirror. It's the way that the mirror has broken that gives you that distorted image or not. And through the observation and experiencing of these distorted images, certain images would resemble light, and others would resemble darkness, and others would represent shade and shadow and whatever, but it's all part of the same light, it's all part of the same seed, it's all part of the same word that we are experiencing. And so out of that, the interpretation would come, and you would think, okay, so this is what's giving this depth. In various moments, counterfeit images or mirrors in the resemblance of the light of the great creator would form or exist, and out of this, others would take on this embodiment of awareness. And in this awareness, two spirits were born. One spirit or expression that would see something. The intention and the expression. Speaking about something, thinking about it, speaking about it, seeing in another person how your words would affect or work within that person's consciousness, and the person's reaction to it would be to do this or to say that. And based on that is how you will see how your words have created an effect on a person, be it in an inverted way or in a whole way. That's why it's very important to speak things from a truthful, transparent, authentic self whenever you speak, because you don't want your information that you're sharing with that person to be distorted. You would like to help that person from every point of your heart, from your awareness, and you would like that person to do the same for another person. That is the intention of the fire. That is the dragon fire, the pearls of wisdom that we're sharing and that we are retrieving. And in this awareness of these two spirits that were born, the intention and the expression, the observation and the experience came from as well. And every time words were uttered, more and more words became alive and embodied the consciousness of the great Creator. This is the world before the artificial construct took place, in many ways bending the original light, displaying false perceptions of moralities, but always keeping the energies of the script alive. The way words are used through intent, creation and thoughts, whereas creating light, and as the dragon speaks, because remember, when you speak in a frequency of life-giving heart fiery heart energy. It is like as the breath of fire of the dragon. It can have life-giving properties where it can create out of death life, just as if it's reflected or referred to as the phoenix, for example. I'm giving you a metaphysical, physiological, metaphorical explanation of how these things work. One could call this almost like an alchemy of language, of the heart. And as the dragon speaks words in a frequency of intent, knowing this as the basics for everything that you are in this avatar or body. So, simpler, you are consciousness. You are living inside an avatar. This world that you're in is based on a support operating system that holds the avatar in motion. You have the authority to bring in things that you would like to create in this world. That's part of your, you can have that. That's part of your will. You can do that. But the information that is the most important is to always know with what you're creating things with. What is your intention and how are you creating this? If you can take in consideration that all is energy and all is internal, the mechanisms of the knowing is internal. So knowing this is internal. It is always and always will be energy, everything from within. The way out of this counterfeit world or virtual world or simulation is to go from what you're experiencing right now to go within, because that is the only way you'll be able to go out if you wanted to. What I've noticed is it's an interesting thing to actually see how your consciousness, how you can be in control of how you place your consciousness in what way, for you to understand that you are in absolute control of your body, irrespective of what you've just listened to or just have watched or whatever you've eaten just now. It has nothing to do with that. It's the way that you are in control of your consciousness, or in the awareness that you are consciousness, and that your consciousness is a part of a greater consciousness. As I've said, all is energy and all is internal. The mechanism of the knowing is internal. It always will be. The way out of the counterfeit world is always from within. To literally breathe and to trust implicitly that as you place your consciousness inward, that you find an original version of what has been mirrored outward. So in other words, you're finding the opposite of the mirror. You're finding the true form inside. The idea of living in a universe or unified verse, words, or one God world is non-personal. It is individualistic. There's a difference between the two. It is also idealistic. It is singular, but it is fractalized. It is displayed as oneness, but not wholeness. And what better way to bring distraction to a whole, to harmony is to create division. And then there'll never be harmony then. Division through distraction. Dragon speak means to be transparent in your intentions, clear as a bell in your thoughts, in your actions, to be free from any kind of script or agreements. and contracts that tie you into the rules of this world. To be in your truth is to be truthful in your actions and your thoughts, and in this to be direct in your creation with intent. And from there on you take responsibility for self and for this. Dragon speak is to know all these things, the mechanics of the creation, and to be clear in your agreements with a demi-half god, to revoke these contracts that you have with that particular entity that is an inverted, fractaled image of us. Revoking that contract to be part of the other half of this thing that's running the show. To be authentic in your own power, your own presence, and to be able to walk in not just this world, but to be aware of many worlds, many levels, many layers of consciousness. Shifting your thoughts from outside to inward, and to observe what is and who is observing back. You create again by doing that, by just thinking about doing that. When you look at your hands, you keep looking at your hands, take a deep breath in, you focus on your hands, and your hands start to tingle perhaps. You have just shifted your consciousness from your head to your hands. That is how quickly and how simple it works. And you can do the same thing when you move it to your heart. And I'm not speaking about chakras or anything like that. I'm speaking about the point of entry. This is a portal. It's for you to go through the portal. This is the center of the star. The sacred story, or the story about Jesus walking on the water, it's very similar to taking this in mind, where the information, I've just drawn that information to explain to you that when he walked on the water, it's the same as what you're going to be doing when you're speaking and you put your thoughts into actions and you put your intentions into a positive, clear, truthful way. You will walk on the primordial waters. That's what that means. It's not physical. You can't walk on the water, you're going to sink. You are walking on the primordial waters, the waters of creation. When you know something and you are using that information, you are also walking on the primordial waters. This is the primordial waters of creation. We're surrounded by it. We are it. I'm speaking about the physiological aspects of the avatar. Primordial waters are the complexity of space and time as well. In other words, that which surrounds us, or the spaces, the space between the words that I've just said to where it reaches you. Space, and you responding to that, in between that. The sacred field surrounding the avataric body forms part of the DNA that is now being revealed through the awakening and the awareness of knowing. And so the story keeps coming, and it scripts the narrative for all unless you change it for you. You've got a book. It is your book of life. This book is based on all the contracts and agreements that you've made to take part in the activities in this world. You based your life on the scripting of this book. But you are infinite consciousness. You don't need a book. You don't need to have a script. The only way that you are meant to work through is how you present your information, how you present your authentic truth. It's how you experience and how you live it. The old story of Sophia and the demiurge, the half-created frequency through mirrored or inverted frequency, or the code, which in turn came through this world and became inverted in her original form. When something is inverted, it creates in an inverted way. It doesn't stop creation, but it creates in an inverted manner, so it goes deeper and darker. Because that's what it was. That was what was used in the first place. And thus that which comes from an inverted creation functions in the same inverted, corrupted way. Counterfeit. The more you realize the story, this narrative, the more you are urged to draw back your power, to wake up your authenticity. But there has to be truth in this. There has to be the aspect of who you are without fear. The only way to work on this is to remove what holds you as a player in the narrative of the demiurge or half-god and his inverted mother. To look at who you are. Remember that when we came into this world, we fell from the higher realms of our awareness. And the more we started to create things, the more we became aware that we perhaps may have created things in an inverted manner that we may not have become aware of. The more you bring yourself out of this world, in other words, bring your awareness out from this world and within, the more you will realize who you are. It's important for us to realize, and I apologize for it being so long, that civilizations perhaps have started at a lower frequency because of the inversion of the original frequency. We are in a conscious war of frequency, the air and the earth and the meeting in between. The in-between. The heavens and the earth and the in-between. And what you think is human nature and how you perceive things. Be clear in yourself. Be truthful to who you are. Do not allow yourself to be sold out or subjected to any particular agreement, even if it's where you felt you were perhaps forced to agree to something. Be mindful that that is an agreement, if you've accepted something that you didn't want to in the first place, and that you're allowed to change that. I wish for you a beautiful day, a peaceful rest, and a time for you to find inner reflection, and for you to experience your truth and your authentic self. Thank you very much. Much love.